what's going to happen? When am I going to see my family again?
Wow.
So that was definitely hard at times because you just didn't know. And so I didn't want to just stay stagnant, in life. I wanted to do more, right? So that's one of the other reasons why I thought, okay, the military could definitely be a good transition going into, but then also the things that I'm going to learn, right, from that, and then eventually transition into doing what I wanted to do, right, or any of the passions I had at the time. But there was a gap. It was very hard, especially because it was something where when you are activated, you don't know until you get that call. Very nerve-wracking, right? But I think having the family, because they did tell us that we were going to be together, kind of gave me that ease that as sisters, we were going to join together. So it wasn't just going to be me. So I still kind of had that family factor, right? Because of what I did.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing of really in character of my decisions, not only affect myself, but also the ones around me.
100%. And that's something I carry throughout life, a team player, whatever the team needs. Yeah.
You're really getting to do a lot of things that it's the first time experience for you.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, an experience there.
On Veterans Voices, we have a very, very, very special guest here. Today we're going to honor, again, Miss Yemima Bernard as, again, our inspiring Army National Guard veteran who simply served as, again, a unit supply specialist. Not only a unit supply specialist, he served from 2014 to 2022. And as a woman in the military who's transitioned to the National Guard, you demonstrated some of the most extraordinary courage, navigating those demands and challenges. Simply your resilience has faced some adversity, but through that adversity, you were able to overcome. And your dedication simply shows that. So we're proud to share such powerful stories that, again, for our audience, and not only the powerful stories, but your contributions to this country, and not only contributions to this country, but as a veteran. Thank you so much for being able to join the show.
For having me today.
Excellent, excellent. So first and foremost, how are you? How's everything? How's life? How's the family? How are you doing?
Everything's good. A lot of great things happening, this year that happened this year. I'm very excited for next year as well, but everything's good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, on Veterans Voices, as you know, we love to share our veteran stories, the contributions, the highlights, the some of the ups and downs, to be able to not only provide context for our audience, but also to inspire the next generation of military members.
Yes.
So we want to kind of start from the beginning with you, right? So let me ask, what made you join the military? What made you join?
Yes. So I joined, my father was actually in the military in Mexico. And so when he, was in his service time, he had a lot of great experiences that he shared with us growing up. So he would talk about it very constantly, things that he had experienced, the things that he had learned from service. So those things always, think in my mind, in my heart, things that values that he had learned that were always instilled in us growing up as well, what he'd learned. So that really motivated me to someday also want to do that. So that was the main reason, why I was motivated to join.
Wow. So your father was a key pillar for you, right? Nice. Well, let me ask you, are you the only child or one of several, or are you just the only child here?
One of 9.
One of 9. Oh my, that sounds like my family.
Yeah. It's one of 9, which surprisingly a lot of us joined.
Wow.
Yes.
So how many joined?
So we had my sisters and I joined together, same time.
Like a buddy system?
Same time, yeah. So all 3 of us went to the recruiting office and said we want to join. So it was funny because my sisters are twins. Mm-hmm. So, and then me, so we were all we looked like triplets. So
oh, wow.
Everybody was very amazed at that, right? That all 3 of us had come to the office to join. So that was pretty a cool experience.
Yeah. So all same age group or?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit older and then they're younger. And then I actually now have an older sister that joined as well. So
that's fantastic. That's amazing. Well, Obviously, I guess your father really instilled some of those values and systematic, again, attributes into all of you guys. So that's great. That's great. Well, with that, give me a little bit of background. I understand that we're jumping to the military where we're joining, but obviously there was much more life before then, right? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Diego. Downtown area, right?
Okay.
So yeah, San Diego. Okay.
Nice. So you grew up in San Diego, and growing up in San Diego, how was that experience? Again, just navigating high school, just kind of figuring out what you want to do. Going down that pipeline.
Yes. High school, like everyone at first, a couple years very challenging, right? You're for acclimating to high school, right? Going from middle school to high school. So,
Yeah.
But high school was great. High school also had a lot of, different programs for the high schoolers that, for like, for example, JROTC, band, they would do a lot of marching, things like that would always like also call my attention to the military. Because you would always see it. And then recruiters, right, that would come. But in general, yeah, high school was very, you could say a very good learning experience as well. But it was good. Good years there.
Great. So when your transition coming from high school, obviously growing in a house, I know what it's like growing up with a big family, having that family unit, right? Always having camaraderie, always having someone around, always having someone to lean on when need be. Now, I guess my question is when you're transitioning out of high school, what made you make that leap to not want to go to college or go to a trade school or any of that and just go to the military?
Yeah, so I did have a gap between that time frame, high school, and joining. I actually joined in 2014, right? So I was around 21.
Got it.
So I did go to college for 2 years, and then I just didn't really have the motivation, to be honest, at that time. And so I didn't want to just stay stagnant, in life. I wanted to do more, right? So that's one of the other reasons why I thought, okay, the military could definitely be a good transition going into, but then also the things that I'm going to learn, right, from that, and then eventually transition into doing what I wanted to do, right, or any of the passions I had at the time. But there was a gap. So college, again, at the time didn't feel like it was something I was motivated to do. So in the military, that's where the motivation came.
Yeah, college is hard. I tell those inspiring, high school athletes or someone who's teetering the college field. There's many different trades out there. There's many different things that you can do in between years, but also the military is a really, really great faction where you can be able to do anything that you like if you choose, if you want to. But now, were you nervous?
Definitely, yes. Going into the military, yes, definitely. Very nerve-wracking, but I think having the family, because they did tell us that we were going to be together, kind of gave me that ease that as sisters we were going to join together. So it wasn't just going to be me. So I still kind of have that family factor.
So so when you say you guys all joined together, so you were able to get shipped off together?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's...
So I had that family factor that I know many people don't have, but I was blessed with that. So in a way, it was nerve-wracking, but I knew I had my sisters with me.
Yeah.
Going through the whole process.
And you guys all share those key experiences. So you guys are I'm sure you guys are pretty close, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. So, from that, I guess obviously, how was boot camp? Because everyone's boot camp is a little...
Yes. Boot camp was... honestly, I because of what I mentioned earlier, my father already instilling in us that resilience and that like strength of, whatever you go through, just be headstrong, with already having those values going into service. I already had that instilled in me. So I went in with that mentality, right? But I did have those moments where it's like, if I wasn't passing, whether that was like the physical, right? Because you're always active, right? You're always doing a lot of like the physical training. But it is also a mental fight, you can say, right? A mental battle as well, because you're battling it against almost yourself. Like, can I do it? Right? Can I overcome this? Even if it's a physical training tests, right? Because you have to pass the test in order to graduate. So even that it was a battle, right, with that. But I did always try to kind of have that mindset of, okay, keep going. Like if you're gonna get leave here, right, you're gonna leave the right way, right? You're gonna graduate. So it was hard, but I was able to overcome in those areas.
Yeah, boot camp. It was a interesting experience. I mean, just think about it. You're right. You're getting people shipped from everywhere in one place, and now you guys have to you guys have to be a team.
Yes.
You don't know from Jill, Jack, Harriet, John. You don't know anyone, right?
Yes.
And it's a very scary moment. I'm not sure. For myself, when I went to boot camp, I arrived at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black, and we were on the boat, and we were on the bus, and getting off the bus immediately, all you hear is, you get off.
Yeah.
At that moment,
It hits me
like, I think I made a mistake.
Well, same here. Well, the first 3 days you're doing the in processing, right?
Yeah.
So we actually didn't sleep for those whole 3 days. No sleep, which I've never done that in my life. So that was very hard.
Yeah.
And no sleep, and then just making sure that they kept you awake the whole time. But then going into what they call like the shark week, right? The shark attack. At that time, it was funny because the drill sergeants came and they were being extremely nice to us. And we thought, wait a minute, this is weird. They told us that there was going to be, it was going to be different, right?
Yeah.
They were going to really be on us. So I thought that was weird. So we get on the bus and they're just talking to us very friendly. And then all of a sudden they stop right at the location, and then they all get down. And then as soon as they all get down, they say, all right, everybody, we're going to get down now. And as soon as we start getting down, everybody, right? This is a lot of people. They start going at us. We was very confused. Right? We're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then as soon as we get down, it wasn't great. They start yelling at us. It's like, go here, go there, go get, all of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, my.
It's a little bit different, right?
Oh,
Just confused.
I tell you, boot camp, that was a realization. It was a transition immediately. It was immediately. It's like, you're either going to be here or you're not. And, just going through it, I'm not sure from your experience, and again, please interject. But again, from my experience, it was something that it immediately changed who you are immediately, because at that point, that's when you're an adult, and that's why I tell a lot of our younger personnel that it was a great experience in that factor, but also there were some key elements that, you lose out of there, and because you have to be broken down, right? Was that something that you felt as though that you really experienced, like changing? It's like a changing of the guard of being okay, person.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a changing experience in character. You can act up, or otherwise you get in trouble, right? But not only that, because not only do you suffer the consequences, but your team, your unit suffers the consequences. So that was a big thing where now I had to be aware of, I need to stay on top of what I need to do. Otherwise, we're all going to be in the rest position, right? Because of what I did.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing of really in character of my decisions not only affect myself, but also the ones around me.
100%. And that's something I carry throughout life, a team player, whatever the team needs. It could be the smallest thing to the largest thing. It doesn't matter. Whatever the team needs, that's what we're going to do.
Yes.
But now with your boot camp, coming out of boot camp, were you given an opportunity to, select a job? How is it graduating, and from graduating, how was it when your selection process and what you get to do?
Yes, when graduating, at that time, you already had your MOs already pre-selected at the time. Okay. So that was already already decided upon. So when I transitioned into the schooling, it was a little bit different, right? They weren't on you as much, but then now there was the whole aspect of learning your job, right? So staying on top of what you were going to be doing now, right? Your job. So that was also another experience that I would say also really helped me, but more in like the leadership side.
Wow.
Because I was able to become what they call the PG, the platoon guide. So with that, I was able to lead, my platoon, and then learning, right, how to lead was also very different for me because I never had been put in that position of leading. So that was definitely an experience for me, learning experience as well.
Yeah. That transition, most people don't understand leadership, right? And this is what we like to highlight in our shows, right? We want to always make sure that not only are you expressing your actual experiences, but putting that into the world, right? Leadership is a very huge thing. I think we're missing in the world today. But you're again a true attribute of it. But now, when you're talking about that transition of leadership, but you were leading. You had a family. Your family. I'm sure they were looking up to you, and I'm sure you guys all came together just to be able to provide that support. Being that rock. It seems like you were the rock of the family in a sense. Is that true?
No, it is true. I mean, I was the oldest one, right? I had the older sister, but by that time she already had like her family and things.
Yeah,
so it's different, right? She was out of the house. So yeah, in a way, it was definitely something that they did look up to me, and I had that sense of responsibility as well, going through the whole process.
Yeah, because when I speak to you, I see you. I feel the leadership and I the guidance because you carry yourself as that, and again, and it sounds like it was something that started throughout the entire life. But obviously in school, right? We call it A school in the Navy. We love the Army for sure. We love the Army, but in the Navy we call it A school. How was your schooling? Was it challenging? Was it something that you felt as though that you kind of breezed by, or what was it?
It was challenging at first, but I had the support, right? The instructors, they definitely did a great job at making sure that we stayed on top of things. But at that time too, you're almost like on your own, right? Because you have to make sure that you're completing, and learning, right? And then the tests, things like that they do, like on hand tests as well. But I did have a challenge at the beginning. But I think eventually you realize that it's not just you. There's other people going through it as well. So we just find support from each other.
Yeah. Did you guys take tests, or was it more or less physical challenges with the Army?
No, we do tests as well.
Okay.
We do the physical training. They focus on that more during the boot camp. And then in the school, they just focus strictly on that.
Yeah. How was it transitioning weaponry training?
Oh, yes. It was a little challenging for me. It's just the weight, I would say, of weapons, right? For somebody as tall as me, that was hard. But it was also very curious to me. I was very curious about that. And I really did want to learn, right, about the weapons in general, right? And I would say shooting the weapon was different for me. That was, definitely a shocker at first because I never shot in my life, right?
Yeah, yes.
So a lot of these things you've never done.
Yeah.
You're really getting to do a lot of things that it's the first time experience for you.
Yeah.
But it's definitely,
Yeah, weapon training was interesting because, again, you see things on TV. It's like, oh, cool to see on TV. But when it's real live,
yes,
action weapon training that can actually hurt someone, it becomes very serious in an instant. And that's something that is, I think everyone should go through. And just weapon training just in general, because there's so many different bad things happening, but it's a hard transition for most. But did you guys do any type of chemical warfare training, like gas chambers?
We did the gas chamber.
Ooh.
We did the gas. That was an experience as well. I think with what they teach you, right, with like your mentality, right, how you see it, they always teach you to be very strong, right, and just almost like tough it out and then just keep going, right? So I had that taught a lot, right, in boot camp. It's repeated. So going through the gas chamber, I almost felt like, okay, I don't want to be the weak one. I don't want to be the one coming out of here all, going through it. So it was hard, right? But it was something that and since it was instilled in me, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go through it and go through it strong.
Yeah.
But it did suck. Yeah, so it was not that great.
Well, it wasn't my best time. Wasn't my best. Wasn't my best efforts that day. Coming out of there, I'm talking about eyes just dripping, snot everywhere, skin burning. They're telling you to get out. You trip and fall. And it wasn't the best highlight of my highlight reel, I would say.
No, it is. Again, it's the first time experience that you never experienced, and then and then they had us do the Soldier's Creed.
Oh, okay.
So they had to stay in there for, I would say, like 5-10 minutes doing
the whole time.
Creed, and then you get up.
And then they say,
like, no, you're
take off the gas mask.
Take it off, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But now, let me ask you. So obviously, family, high school, off to boot camp, and now getting to the point where you're transitioning. As an active duty member, typically you would transition into the fleet. Now, being a reservist, what does that transition look like?
First, you report to your unit. So they do give you a date of when you're going to be reporting to your unit, wherever you're going to be stationed at. So that was local for me, thankfully. So blessed with that. So when I transitioned into that, my unit at the time actually was deployed. So it was just, whoever had already gotten back from boot camp. So there wasn't many, there wasn't a lot to do at the time because nobody was really there, right? So we were there in support of the military police company, because this is where I was stationed at, a military police company. So we were in support of them. So the transition was slow, I would say, into actually doing my job. Then when they came back, that's when we did more of the hands-on. Got
it. So, because again, going in, like I said before, transitioning the fleet is just, boom, you're there every day. So, with that transition, you give your report date. Do you go home between your report date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you need to get to go home.
Okay. So then you report, and then at that point, that's when we're revving up everything. And as a supply person, can you tell me some of your duties that you did daily?
Yeah, so mainly support, right? So any type of either activations, like for example, we were activated to a lot of fire missions, also like riots, that were happening as well. Just because again, the unit, military police, they were needed during those times. So a lot of the things that we would do is, one, we would actually participate in the training because they want us to be prepared as well, just in case they needed more bodies. And then two is support of making sure that they had their weapons ready to go, ammunition, like their equipment as well, masks, all that stuff that they needed as well for any other types of training. So just in support of whatever they needed. Great.
So basically, again, kind of the support staff, right? Because it's needed. It's so, and I think a lot of times what happens is that people don't necessarily understand the different components of the military, right? It's so many different components. You have the high level decision maker, strategic planning, right? You have the on ground support, you have the air support, you have the sea support, but then you also have the off ground support, who is the supply, right? Supply is a huge portion of the military. Being in supply, can you tell me about some of those riots or some of those experiences that you had to go through, again, being in support?
Yes, definitely. During those activations, with what was happening in the world at that time, it was very hard, especially because it was something where when you are activated, you don't know until you get that call. So your unit sergeant at that time, they literally can just call you up and say, hey, we're getting activated. You need to come now. So wherever you are. So at that time, it was very, shocking, right? Because you're just going, you're doing your duty, at the time frame that you need to go. But then if you need it, get ready and go. So you always have to have your equipment ready, just in case something were to happen. So it was always a standby, pretty much, because the unit that I was in was activated very regularly and a lot of things that happened. So we always had to be ready. So that was very like a shocker for me, because you just never knew when you're going to get that call, like when and how long. You didn't know how long you were going to be gone for, right? Because you didn't know how long this was going to last, what more support that we're going to need. So it was more what's going to happen? You know, when am I going to see my family again?
Wow.
So that was definitely hard at times because you just didn't know.
Scary. Scary. What were some of the things that you were activated for? Do you have any particulars?
Fire missions, up north area, the riots, also for the COVID missions too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were activated for that.
Wow, that's
when
tough.
I re-enlisted, I was transferred to a different unit up in Los Alamitos. So that unit as well were infantry, so they would get activated a lot as well. So we got activated to the COVID mission for about 5 to 6 months.
Wow.
5 to 6 months. So that was also very hard as well, because
tough.
at the time they don't tell you how long they're going to need you, and so that's how long it went.
So, and explain, please, for the audience that doesn't know, can you explain what does activation really mean, truly mean?
Yes, activation, when you're a reservist, it's just getting activated for whatever the city at the time or the state needs. So those activations can be, again, you know, for any type of missions that were needed as support, right, of the either police, state, you know, what they need. So those would be those activations.
Got it. Yeah, and you were in a very tumultuous time. Think about
Yes.
COVID, right? COVID. Everyone, it's a blip to them right now. It's in the past, right?
That's when it started.
But millions passed away, and it was a very, very hard time for, I think, the world.
Yes.
You know, and I tell everyone to just always take your time to really recognize that, because right now, I mean, we're in 2024, but let's think about it. It was only 4 years ago.
Yes.
And it feels like 10. I can only imagine the things that a reservist can go through when you're going to day-to-day life. And next thing you know, you're activated and having to really fight this fight. I have never experienced something like that. I always had said, you know, reservists they have it very, very hard, because you're going to regular life, day-to-day life with your family, and now instant military. Well, I didn't have that experience. It was always military, you know. So to be able to kind of focus on that, how was that transition, being able to transition through that? Was that an easy one for you, or was it something that was somewhat of challenge?
The transition into...
Well, transition coming from regular day-to-day life as, again, Yemima, I am just going through life, going to work, doing this,
Yes.
but then active.
Oh, yeah. It's hard because, again, you don't know what's going to happen, how long they're going to need you, the threat, right, of what you're going to be facing. Like, are you going to be in the front lines? Because, again, even though we weren't necessarily, at least myself, even though I was in maybe infantry or MP, I still had to be ready to be in the front lines if they needed that support, because I had gone through the training, you know, and as a unit, you're just one unit, right?
Yeah.
So if they needed that support, then I had to be ready to be in the front lines. So it was very hard not knowing when I was going to see my family, if I was ever going to be in danger, right? My fellow service members, and then being in danger. A lot of my, you know, fellow service members were in the front lines where they did experience those things, and then thinking, you know, am I going to be able to see them, right? Because they're almost like family at that point.
Yeah.
They're with you, you know, throughout these activations, and they're all feeling the same way, right, with your family. So yeah, that was very hard.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So, I you know, I have a thought process, right? When we're talking about being activated could mean so many things, but as a woman being activated, it can shape you in so many different ways. Can you give me some of the challenges that you think that you had just serving as a woman in the military? Because everyone has different challenges, right? Being, you know, whatever demographic you are. But being a woman in the military could be a very unique challenge, because it is, I mean, again, let's to say what it is. It's a pretty male-dominated industry. But now, with you being a female coming into play, what would that look like?
You almost had to kind of live up to that male, I would say, I'm sorry, what did you call it? That was a good way to put it.
Male-dominated industry.
Male-dominated. So you almost had to do, you know, either what they're doing or more. Because then you'll be either seen, right, or you'll have those opportunities at least in my experience. I did have to make sure that I was doing above and beyond to make sure that my work, what I had to do or what I was doing was being seen and acknowledged. And then also go, into more of like promotions or, getting those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So it was challenging in that way, I would say. But then when you have those that aren't supportive, you kind of made it easier, right? Because you do have, at least I didn't have it in my first unit. In my other unit, my second one, when I did re-enlist, I did have that support of having those opportunities.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, when we talk about that, I have it's just an infinity, right? Because again, you already need the leadership support just in general of who you are. Do you think you had a great leading, again, a leadership cast or someone who really shaped you up and put you in a position to be successful as a woman?
Like I said, with the second unit, I really did have that support where not only did this general educate me on all the things that I, could be partaking from within service, the opportunity to go to school, to become an officer eventually. So just the education that he provided to me really motivated me to want those things, have a passion in those things. Of course, I ended up, getting out of the military, right? But I did have that support eventually with him there. That really, he really supported me.
Obviously, with the leadership, having that support. Can you give me any instance, like any instance that you're willing to share that again that is an experience that you think your leadership carried you through or supported you through? Because like I said before, leadership, I think it's something that is truly missing, and I want to make sure that people understand how much it could change a person.
This would be during service or
during service, yeah.
Yes, during service, I would say motivating. So in service, it can get hard, right, to stay motivated, especially when you're away from family or even doing your job, things like that, right, in support of the service member. So it really, when it comes to leadership, it really helped me see the need for that. And there were instances where when we were activated, there was that lack of motivation. So I was able to use that leadership and motivating the service members and supporting them, encouraging them through that.
Nice. Yeah, and again, military is life, right? Because you go through these real life experiences, personal issues, just life, just in general, that transition, and someone being able to support or find that unity, camaraderie, like you said, those are your family members. So some people that, I talked to today that, that seen me through when I was 19 years old, and probably going to talk to them the rest of our lives, and it's incredible to be able to find that. And sometimes you don't even find that with family. But I must ask, was it hard truly finding kind of an identity, right? Because you're almost living a double life. When you're living military, you're living regular life. Was that a challenging thing?
Yeah. It was almost like a switch because with military, you're always on duty, right? You're always on standby. And then transitioning into now being at home and then not really being in that, you could say almost like pressure, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing was hard. Almost at times became an anxiety almost for me because you just didn't know either you're on standby and always on guard or you just relaxing and enjoying time with family.
Yeah.
So that was hard, very challenging.
That's tough. Like I said, I can only imagine because you're flipping a switch, because the expectation doesn't go away because you're going home, but was that when that transition, time happened, coming home from the military, was it something that you had to adjust when you walked in the door? Because everyone home life is different. I personally, it felt like a shell shock. But it was only temporary, right? Think about that, that transition coming home when I'm on leave, living a civilian life, well, I just got back from deployment, and it was 7, 8 months long, 6 months long. That was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something you did that more often than not? Was that something that you regularly dealt with, or was it something that was, I guess, temporary?
It was definitely regularly. And it did take a couple days, weeks, sometimes even months to readjust. But then by that time, it's already to go back. So it was hard. Because not only, are you focusing in your mind is on one thing, right? And again, always being on that guard. When am I going to be activated again, because you always just get that call, not knowing. So it was tough. It did take some time to adjust, but then by the time you adjust, here we go again. So it was on and off.
That's
It was hard.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. And I don't think
it's a relationship, your marital family. It's hard.
Yeah, because they don't even have a clue. They don't have a clue. Well, I will say, kudos to you. Kudos to you, because that's a very hard feat. That's a very hard transition, but, with that transition, 2022, that's a pivotal moment for you, right? Leaving service. That's a very pivotal moment. Why?
Life, change of life. You always do have those aspirations, right, of what you want to do in service and how far you want to go, right? So I did come to a point now serving 8 years. Do I continue to go, right? Because you're almost at that time. You can make that decision of, okay, I want to stay and retire, or do I want to, get out? So it was very hard. I think that at that time, because I had just also... when I re-enlisted, right at the time, I had just been married. I had just gotten married. So it was definitely a different life, right? Because now I was first, single, doing military, but now with family, it can be different, right? Because now not only do you have the responsibility of just yourself, but you also have a family now, right? With your spouse. So that was definitely a hard transition to do that. But at that time, I felt like I needed to focus more on my family. So that's where that decision came. Because not only did I have my own dreams, right, of aspirations of wanting to go, I wanted to go to OCS.
Oh, wow.
I'm an officer. So I was already getting the support for that. And I was already going to go into the training. And so that was hard, because that's what I wanted to do. But then now I have my family, who wants me here. So that was a hard decision for sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
I did route my application up, and the leadership said, "Bernard, no, get out of here. We need you here." My little feelings were hurt. I walked around like, I want to be an officer. But no, that's amazing. That's great. But yeah, that transition, I can, like I said, it's just, you have to make a decision. And that's a hard decision for any young male, female, whoever. It's a tough decision because it's literally a trajectory of life. Where do you go? And unfortunately, there's some that, again, I think, because that transition going back into the civilian sector every day is very hard. Was that something when you fully got out that you felt, or was it something that you harnessed?
It still is a transition to this day because of the mentality, the mindset that they built in you is very different. So when you come out, you start realizing things that the way that you see things, your perspective, it's not the same as, what you would call a civilian, right? So it's still hard to kind of readjust to that.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of before like that anxiousness, right, of what's going to happen. So that was something that I had to work through coming out of that. Like, just calm down, just relax, enjoy life, right? It is hard, but it is something that you end up, adjusting, right, overcoming.
Yeah, it is hard. There's something, and I'm really happy that you brought that up, because I don't think everyone is willing to admit that it is still an adjustment to this day. You focus on what's regular, and that is quote unquote what is deemed to be regular. that a service member may feel as though it is not normal at all. And it sometimes it shakes the spirit. And personally, it's you live a double life because, well, these are still values that is going to create success, create a stable person, create this, create that. But civilians, you do what you want, how you want, when you want, and it becomes very stressful. It's stressful. It's hard. It's hard. And then you still have your brothers and sisters in arms still fighting a war, and you're still communicating with them and what they're doing and what's going on there. So I definitely can. Again, I think every veteran could really resonate with that. So thank you for sharing that. But now, I guess with that closeout here, you have given us amazing stories about your military experience. But now I ask you, what are the 3 values you think that you honor today that you got from service?
Honor, serve, and protect. Those are the 3 things that have really stayed with me in every aspect. Family, community, workplace. You're always looking to protect. You're always looking to serve, always looking to honor. Because those values get you places. And those are the values that have gotten me open doors in my life that I don't think I would have had without learning that. And it's, values that are very lacking, within a lot of people. And it was definitely a blessing to learn those things because, like I said, it opened a lot of doors for me.
I can't express how much I not only respect that, but really internalize that. So those values are very meaningful to me. And here on Veteran Voices, not only do we thank you, we really appreciate you, but we honor you. So with that honor, we want to go ahead and be able to present your actual coin here in regards to your Veterans coin. We really appreciate everything that you do. So with that, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.